Euren, ¿qué tal estáis? Bueno, hoy damos inicio a la tercera jornada de INNpower Auckland, Bizkaia, y lo hacemos de la mano de una artista que, bueno, artista, escultora, diseñadora, que nos va a dar inspiración, nuevas ideas. Creo que puede ser una buena manera también de finalizar. Y la idea principal es de este programa, de este año. Ya sabéis que siempre elegimos una ciudad y un lema, un Leit-Motiv sobre el que trabajar, y este año es Auckland, en Nueva Zelanda, y la idea principal es cómo diseñar el futuro y para eso cómo accionar el presente. Y bueno, para eso hace falta inspiración y que de alguna manera sacudirnos viejas ideas para entrar en nuevas. Y para esto vamos a tener hoy a Lissy Cole. Ella es, como decía, diseñadora, artista, pero sobre todo es alguien con un punto de vista genuino sobre la vida. Su propósito es simplemente transmitir la alegría allí donde ella realiza sus instalaciones. Ella también trabaja conjunto con su pareja y bueno, pues de alguna manera ya vamos a ver lo que hacen y cómo lo hacen, y seguro que os ayuda a transferir ese conocimiento en cuestiones prácticas para vuestras empresas. Bueno, como decíamos, aquí tenemos ya a Lissy Cole, que es artista, diseñadora y alguien que desde luego tiene mucho INNpower, pues, una persona muy innovadora y con una capacidad de reinvención y de búsqueda siempre de nuevas fórmulas muy interesante, que seguro que nos ayuda a encontrar claves. Hello, how are you?
Hola, buenas tardes. Me llamo Lissy Cole, Melissa Cole. I'm really well. Thank you so much for having me here today. As you can see, it's quite dark. It's nighttime on the other side of the world from you all. But I want to begin by when in Maoridom, and the indigenous people that I am here of Aotearoa, we always begin with our identifying ourselves through our pepeha. So I will begin that now. Ko mōtatau, raua ko puheke ngā maunga, ko taumārere raua ko rangaunu ngā awa, ko ngata ki mata whaurua raua ko mamaru ngā waka, ko mōtatau raua ko karaponia ngā marae, ko ngati hene raua ko ngā puhi ngā iwi, ko ngati hene raua ko patukoraha ngā hapu, ko paihana taua tōku karaua, ko iha pera henare tōku koe, ko Colin Cole raua ko mairehau ōku matua, ko Melissa Cole tōku ingoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
And that for us as Māori is a way that we identify ourselves and we build links with other Māori. So when we come together, we say our pepeha, because when we do, we're able to create the familial links and tribal links to each other. And we know, oh, you come from the north. Oh, you come from here. Oh, I have whānau, I have family from there. And the tribal affiliations that I come from, in that greeting, what I'm saying to you is what is the mountains that we come from, the rivers that we come from, the waka it's called, which is like a canoe, but that's what we came in on hundreds of years ago. I introduced you to my grandparents, to my parents, and then to myself. And so it's just a beautiful way as Māori that we create those links, and in doing so, it really strengthens us.
Thank you very much for this presentation. Muchísimas gracias por este momento, linaje, estos ancestros y de dónde venís, ¿verdad? Vosotros explicáis con esta introducción que llamáis Bizkaia, de dónde vienen, de qué montañas, de qué ríos, de dónde procedéis, ¿no? Para luego establecer enlaces con otras personas. Muchas gracias.
Kia ora, thank you, thank you. It's a real honor. Thank you, Miriam, for inviting me to speak at your conference. It's, I think, really awesome to connect with you all. Even though this is a pre-recording, I can imagine you all there in Bizkaia, listening and learning from the inspiration from other speakers and the empowerment that we receive as women when we come together. And it's a wonderful opportunity for me to share my journey of entrepreneurship with you all, and I hope that I can lend some inspiration as an artist and as an Indigenous person of Aotearoa, you know, to share some insights into how I've gotten to be where I am today. So thank you very much. It's a real privilege to be here. And so now shall I bring up the PowerPoint? So I'll do a share screen. I was going to say, sorry, I only just saw that you needed a title for this presentation, and we're igniting joy globally. This is this can be the title for it. What we have here is our mission statement. So yes, I am a creative entrepreneur and artist, and I do this with my husband. My husband Rudy and I are both crochet artists, and this is our purpose: igniting joy globally through our artworks. And as you can see, they are sculptural crochet depictions of our cultural artifacts, if you like. And welcome, no mai haramai, welcome to Lissy Cole Designs. So here we are in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and what we have here is a picture on the left of one of our what are called marae, which are the meeting place of our tribe, Ngāti Hine. This is where, before colonization, this is where we would have lived, and there would have been a large community of us living around these meeting houses. Now, you know, through colonization, we are now separated from our meeting houses, but we are still we still can go there. They're still there and we're able to go there, but we don't live there. And then in the other picture is a picture of our harbour. I believe Bizkaia is also a harbour with a beautiful harbour. I did Google your town and it looked very, very beautiful. The same but different. And I think that's the wonderful thing. Even though we are on the other side of the world, what connects us all is the sea, is the water, the moana. And it's a wonderful, you know, that's a wonderful thing about us as Māori, is, you know, we make those links and those connections. So a little slice of Auckland, Aotearoa, New Zealand. You'll have to come and visit. Now, really, I guess, you know, and I love the theme of this conference, designing your future and boosting your now. And it's given me the opportunity to think about my journey. Over this last week, I've been talking to my sisters and my family about what, you know, this opportunity to present today. And for us as Māori, we have generally large families, and families are very important to us. And so this is a very old photo of my family with my mother and father, who are now both dead. So it's a lovely photo with us all. I am the youngest child of eight girls. I have 7 sisters. And my father was Pākehā, which is European, and my mother was Māori. So we grew up in a very large bicultural family. And not only were there all of us, we always had many other people living with us that didn't have anywhere else to go. So it was a house filled with life, filled with people, filled with different experiences. And my father was a renowned fashion designer here in New Zealand. He was very well known and revered and respected for his designs, which were very beautiful. And my mother was a scholar. And so this is a sum of the family. Since then, it has grown. And I am the youngest, can I say, of the family. I am the youngest sister. I'm very lucky. I have 7 big sisters. And so the journey, I guess the journey began really with my father, who was an entrepreneur. So he was my first experience of being an entrepreneur. And I saw he worked 7 days a week, all the hours of the days, to feed 8 children, pay his staff. It was a life of true, authentic purpose, but it was hard work. And unfortunately for my dad, he wasn't a very good businessman because he was such a high creative. And I've learned a lot from when I think of my father and the way he did his business, which, you know, he never made any money, God bless him. He never made any money, but he lived his true purpose in life. And him and I were very, very close. And so he died when I was 15. And yeah, very devastating, but you know, these I carry him with me intensely. And these pictures here on this slide were a little bit of sort of a backstory. I was married and I was in a relationship for 22 years. And in 2006, that marriage ended. And I went on a very big journey of who am I? You know, like many, I'm assuming, you know, many of the people that are watching this presentation have been through the same really big upheavals that have had massive impacts on their life. And so I went back to university. Well, I didn't even go back because I'd never been. I went to university and it was really frightening. And I did a communications degree, thinking I was going to have an illustrious career in public relations. And so I finished my degree and was ready to be in the world of public relations. And I got a job at a charity doing communications. But always in the back of my heart and mind was the longing and dreaming of being a full-time creative. And so in 2017, after being quite unhappy in my job and with the nagging feeling of I need to be a full-time creative, I left my job and at this stage were preparing to be remarried. And this is my husband now, Rudy. And in 2017, I left my job. And at that stage, Rudy was working full time, and he, you know, I was lucky in that he was paying the rent, so I could explore what this meant to be creative full time. And it was scary, I have to say. I spent 1 whole year experimenting and feeling really like, what am I doing? This is really frightening. Nobody cares about that I'm sitting in my sewing room making a cushion. And then I discovered crochet, and discovering crochet has changed my life. I was immediately addicted to crochet. I bought a hook and some wool, and as soon as I did and I started, I haven't stopped really. And the pictures on the left here are of Rudy and I's very, very first yarn bomb. Now, I don't know if you know what yarn bombing is, but it's about taking knitted and crocheted items out of the home and putting them out on the streets as art. And this was the very, very, very first thing we ever did. And it was so exciting and a bit, I was like, oh, are we going to get into trouble? But when we put this on the fence, we had such an overwhelming positive response from loads of people that it encouraged us to keep going. And so we did. And as we have gone out into our communities and we've placed crochet on the streets, and even we crocheted our car, our whole entire car, because we saw that taking the joy off a fence and putting it on a car and making it mobile was so powerful. And I have to say, the love we received from total strangers all around Auckland as we drove our little crochet car all around Auckland, it was immense. And again, strengthened our knowledge that we were on the right path, that this path of crochet and creativity and working together with Rudy was us being our most authentic self. And so in these pictures here, we've done a lot of crochet workshops in our community, at schools, at our local libraries. And it's really been powerful for us to see the impact something incredibly simple as bright, colorful wool coming together with joy is, there is a real need for it in our communities. And I think the powerful thing about the crochet has been it's given a visual language to many of our intangible concepts that we have as Māori, of connection, of love, of connecting to the spiritual world. For us as Māori, we are a collective culture. We are not an individualistic culture, so we are all about the greater good for all, not just for one or two. And one of the most powerful aspects of being Māori is that we absolutely know that we do not walk alone in this world. We walk with our ancestors. We are in communication with our ancestors daily. We are talking with them. We are being inspired by them, guided by them. We gain wisdom from them. And so we walk not only with our ancestors, we walk with all of our ones who are alive today, and also all of our ones descendants to come. And I think that absolutely gives us an incredible strength and bravery to step out in faith. And for that, we feel incredibly privileged to have that deep within our DNA. And Māori too have always been very entrepreneurial, risk takers, and also harnessing the energy to do incredibly innovative, innovative things. Some of our myths and legends around being Māori include harnessing the energy of the sun. And we adapt really well to new technologies and new ideas, and we grab them and we run with them. I think these are all incredible positives of being Māori. And what I know is our art and our working with our communities transcends and breaks down so many barriers in connecting with our communities. I love that. My favorite picture there is, her name is Lily Jin, and she's just sitting in the car. Oh, her face says everything. Oh, it's all about the joy and sharing the joy. I love her. She's so great. She's an opera singer. She's amazing. And so Here are some images of our art. Our signature, you know, people have said, oh, because the colorway that we use exclusively is neon. For us, it is all about neon and bright and colors that denote vibrancy and joy, really. They bring us joy, and what we're discovering in putting our work out there in the world is it's resonating with other people, and which is really, really exciting. People have never ever seen anything like what we're creating, which is also really exciting, that we are innovating in the art form, in the craft world, in the art world, and in the world of Māori too. It's challenging some Māori, our work, because it's very different from traditional, but also many, many Māori are responding so positively to it. And what you have on the outside of this frame are what we call po, and they generally they are quite large. You can't tell the scale, but these are about 3 meters tall. They're big, and they are depicting 2 of our gods. On the left, you have Hine Turama, who was the goddess of light, and Uru Te Ngāngana, and he is the god of light. And these 2 figures are a part of this very big project that we are working on, which is to create a large scale, fully crocheted wharenui, which is a house, a traditional Māori house. Really exciting, totally daunting and very challenging, but we're on this road because honestly, the tupuna, our ancestors, have said to us, this is what you need to do. And so we're doing it, and we're stepping out in faith that we'll find the money to make it happen, that we'll get the support. So, and in the middle of this picture is a really powerful wheku, it's called, which is a face that we made for one of our prisons here. So my husband Rudy has been taking workshops in our prison, one of the men's prisons, and that's because over here, like with many countries, Maori men, we only make up a very small part of the population of Aotearoa, but the statistics of Maori men in prison are 50% of prison population are Maori men. And that absolutely breaks our heart. And, you know, and as part of that systemic racism that we live in as colonized people. And so this piece here, Rudy was taking workshops in the prison, and he worked with the men to create or to teach them how to crochet. And so on this face, you've got one side that's very neatly, you know, put together, and on the other side, on the right hand side, looks messy. And so Rudy incorporated the pieces that the men created over the workshops, and it was really to tell the story or to demonstrate the journey that every human goes through, that we're always on this path of you know, nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Everyone has got a story to tell, and usually the story is pretty messy, you know, but that within that messiness is so much beauty and so much hope. And the colorways we use, especially this pink, the pink is our signature color, and the pink for us denotes joy. And so this is actually probably my favorite piece, simply because it is so layered and meaning, and was a powerful piece when we presented it back to the prisoners to show that this was the artwork that we created for the prison using their work, and they were really blown away, and so were the staff at the prison guards. So that's working in the prisons and working in our communities has been a really has been a powerful way to make an impact and to share the purpose of joy through our art. And these pictures, after we did the poppy, we received a little bit of funding from our local council. I know, Miriam, you talked about you're supported quite well by your local councils and government to empower you as women entrepreneurs. And over here too, we have funding. And this was a little bit of funding I got from one of the first yarn bombs I did. And they make me smile because they're so simple, but they brought a lot of people joy. And this is a really important part of our journey as crocheters, and they make me smile. And again, just going back to our kaupapa, which is purpose, and I like these quotes from both that Rudy and I say. When we create, we feel absolutely intimately connected, not only to our purpose but to all our ancestors. And the thread of our wool symbolizes the thread of love that connects us all. Us all is even humanity, everybody. It is that thread of love. And for Rudy, his creativity expresses his genealogy, his whakapapa, and it celebrates who we are as Māori. Our work is a full celebration of us as Māori, and like every other colonized person in the world, there is a lot of pain and trauma and intergenerational pain and trauma that goes along with being colonized. And so it's so important for us as Māori artists to shout from the rooftops, as you do with neon. You can't run away from neon, in celebration of our people and our culture. And these pictures are actually from our first exhibition that we only had last year, which has changed our lives. We held this exhibition and we had no idea how our works were going to be received, because no one's ever seen anything like this ever before. And so we were very nervous. We didn't know, but wow, when we had our exhibition, everybody went crazy. We've received like a tsunami of love and support for our work, because especially in these crazy COVID times, so many people have been disconnected, are isolated from each other. And so sharing the joy of our work with the world and with our country, people just resonated so much with the joy and the connection that that crochet symbolizes. Because when you crochet, it's an act of pulling loops, you're connecting loops, so the symbolism of crochet is so powerful. On the right hand side too, this is crocheted, it's a tino rangatiratanga flag, so it's a Maori flag. And this flag symbolizes, the design of this flag symbolizes self-determination as Māori. So it's a powerful symbol for us as Māori. And this is a big flag. This is about 6 meters in length. It's big, by 2.5 meters wide. Very, very, very exciting. Some more of our creations. Frida Kahlo has been a massive inspiration to me for many, many, many years. I really have resonated with her story. And so I said to Rudy one day, please, would you make me a bust mold of Frida? Because I would love to create a bust to celebrate Frida and all that she has meant to me in my journey, personally, artistically, and I connect to her spirit, her wairua, her spirit a lot, and just some of our other pieces. And so, leading on to the theme of your conference, I hope you're still with me, everybody. Designing your future and boosting your now. I was saying to my daughter as she was putting this together, I said, boosting your now is designing your future, right? you know, when we're thinking about, because I love the theme. It's so positive and it's so hopeful. And if there's something, you know, and it's obviously got me thinking about the journey. So how the journey of entrepreneurship? Well, first of all, dreaming big. I mean, to me, that's just goes without saying. And I'm someone that has had always ridiculously big dreams. I really believe that in order to design your future, man, you got to dream, but dream big, you know, don't be afraid, dream big. Surrounding yourself with the right people, that's been really hugely important for us. We're really, really fortunate in that the right people have come along at the right time for us. We've got incredible mentors who we speak with regularly. We have business mentors, we have spiritual mentors, we have cultural mentors, we have so many people that we can turn to for assistance, because, you know, when you're first starting out and you've never been in business before, like we've never been in business before now, so my gosh, you certainly don't know everything and you really need the assistance of others. And what I wanted to say here too was about, you know, when you're designing your future, thinking about collaborating. You know, Māori are expert collaborators. We co-collaborate, we co-design. We are really expert at bringing people together and drawing on the strengths and unique abilities of everybody and harnessing all of that energy to create big impact. And, you know, and I put in the dream collaborations because when I first started yarn bombing, there was an American yarn bomber, her name is London Kay. When I saw her work back in 2017, she was utterly instrumental in me doing the yarn bombing, putting the yarn bombs. I connected to her through her art. It was so inspirational. And I call her like the rock star of yarn bombing because she is doing big things in America. She's based in LA. She's amazing. And when I first discovered her 4 years ago now, I said to myself, one day, London Kay, one day we are going to collaborate, just one day. And, you know, one of my big dreams. And I have to tell you all that it is official. We are collaborating on our crochet whare nui. So I encourage you to think of the people that you dream of working with and dare to dream, first of all, that it's possible, and then figure out how you can get a hold of them. I mean, that's the great thing about COVID, I've found, is people are far more accessible. You can just jump on Instagram and message someone. You never know. You never know. They might just get back to you. Look, honestly, so I encourage you to have the dream collaborations. And of course, in designing your future, you've got to trust the process. You know, there's a whole lot of trust and faith that goes into being an entrepreneur. Let's face it, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. It requires intuition. You know, Rudy and I are both very intuitive people, so we trust the process and we trust our intuition, so that when projects or people approach us or become available, we really go by how we feel. Does it feel right? Does this person feel right? Does this project feel right? Is this the right path? And if we feel in our hearts that it is, then we'll take the step. Now, abundance, you know, one of our business mentors really helped change the way we feel and see money, because we were talking to her one day and we were afraid. How are we going to make money, or something like that? And she said, you're coming from this in a scarcity mindset. She said, I'm going to tell you something. She said, you know your creativity. And I said, yes. She said, you know that your creativity comes from an abundant well source. You know it's never ending. your creativity is abundant. And I said, yes, it is. And she said, money is exactly the same way. It comes from the same abundant well source. Well, when I connected those two, it was like, whoa, mind blowing. And she said, so you'll stop thinking about it from a scarcity point of view, but from an abundant, just like your creativity. And I have to say, it's really changed the way Rudy and I think about finances and money. And yeah, we definitely believe in abundance. And I think too, also in designing your future, you know, it's really important to really look back to see how far you've come as well. You know, it can be really easy to go, oh, we're focused on here and going forward. But, and then we get really sometimes disappointed because we aren't where we think we want to be. But if we just take a second to go, well, far out, a year ago, I was here and now look at us. You know, I think too, we just sometimes have to stop in the moment and acknowledge and, you know, give yourself some loves for, you know, the journey that you're on. I think, yeah, just thinking about how we've been designing our future, and then boosting our now. Again, dream big, because boosting your now is designing your future, right? So I'm all about, look, dream big, ridiculous. And then take actions when you can, you know, doesn't matter, so small. Every single piece of action, whether that's just a decision to go, I'm going to focus on being positive today. It doesn't actually have to mean I've got to go out there and, you know, make $1 million. It means just an action of some description. Affirmations. Now, if and when you do come to Aotearoa, and we would love to host you all. Oh my goodness, wouldn't it be great to have a conference over here where you all come over here and we'll host you, and you will come to our house and we will have a wonderful party with lots of food, because Māori love our food, just like, oh, and I'd love to taste all of your food. But we have affirmations all over our house, because I've always believed, look, it can't hurt, okay? I don't, you know, years and years ago, you know, when we started hearing about affirmations and whatnot, it's like, well, I don't know if they work, but it can't hurt. And so I have to say, the affirmations that we've had on our walls for like the last 3 years, many of them have manifested. And so the other day I said to Rudy, I think we need to make some bigger and some more affirmations. And so we have, and we've put up new ones. And I personally love, I think what I love about that in terms of boosting your now, it's a daily reminder of your dreams, and it gives you a little focus, even if it's just for a second that you're looking at the affirmation. It's like, oh, that's right. Yeah. I think the important thing with affirmations is that you're living as if it's already happened. So your affirmation is something like, I'm happy and grateful that we are making a self-sustaining career as artists, and, you know, I'm happy and grateful that our families are healthy and happy and thriving. Of course, it takes courage and faith, absolute courage and faith to step out every day. I think, and you know, and that is why it's super important for us we say a prayer every day, a karakia it's called, to our ancestors, to the God of our understanding. We express gratitude for all that we have and all that we hope to be, because there is no other life. I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're super passionate about whatever it is you're doing. And I know that there is no other life for us. We have to make this work. We just have to. So every single thing in our toolkit, we use every single thing. Every single thing I'm telling you is every single thing that we do every day. You know, I'm walking the talk here. I'm walking the talk. And then leaning into your fears is, yeah, I think that's a really, really super important one. It's obviously incredibly, incredibly terrifying to lean into our worst fears about, you know, the things that sit super deep within us that hold us back. I think if we have the courage to look inside, face our fears, our deepest fears, speak them out loud, write them down. You know, when you face something, then you're able to feel it and move forward. It's really important to make mistakes. You know, it's important to allow yourself to make a mistake, to really, you know, as an entrepreneur, especially, or as a business person, when you're starting out, you know, you're testing, you're trialing, you don't know, it's all uncharted waters. So you're stepping out in faith, you might muck up, but oh my gosh, well, that's, you know, it's great, you're human, you know, not to place too many high expectations on yourself, and gathering that support around you. I think too, that's important for boosting your now. How do we boost our now? Well, we've got to help to boost us and build our confidence as entrepreneurs. So again, that's the awesome thing about your organization, is that you have the support of your people around you, which of course helps to instill the confidence to dare to dream and take the action and have the courage and faith and step out. Just some of the thoughts that have come out as it's been a wonderful, you know, I really appreciate the opportunity to actually think about these things and to share my very humble learnings. And so some questions, you know, I have to share with you that this week we've had a major setback, a huge disappointment. We didn't receive a big fund that we went for in creating our crochet wharenui, our crochet house. And it was like getting a punch in the guts. I was sort of prepared for it, but not really. And after a day of feeling incredibly panicked about how are we going to survive, how are we going to live, what's going to happen, what about our project, what are we going to do, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. My husband and I, we had a lot of prayers that day, but also I said to him, okay, I'm going to allow myself a very short amount of time to feel the major disappointment, and then then we are going to focus on positivity and how we are going to move forward. And so as the days have gone by, I've actually started to see it as a real gift. One, because I thought, oh, this gives me something really relevant and totally, you know, true to share with you all. You know, the vulnerability that you feel when you have a massive disappointment, the fear, everything. And so I'm interested to know, how do you deal with disappointments and setbacks? You know, do you let it take you down a hole of despair, or what do you do? You know, how can you shore yourself up so that you can move forward? And I would encourage you to speak to your trusted people, to allow yourself to feel it too is really important. And then it's about being firm with yourself, firm but loving with yourself. Okay, we've had this disappointment. Now let's come up with a plan. Let's get our affirmations up on the wall. Let's talk to some people that can really support us and help to encourage us. And then in thinking of that, what are the barriers that get in the way of your success, if any? Maybe there aren't. Maybe there aren't, maybe there are. And how do you feel about collaborating and problem solving? You know, is collaboration something that you're threatened by or excited by? You know, because it requires a lot of trust, right, to collaborate with people, a lot. And then really I want to leave you, or I want you to think about really, what are your dreams? Whatever they are, go big, go bigger, dream bigger. Yeah, I think dreaming bigger. And one of my new dreams is going to be able to one day, when our borders open, come to Bizkaia, meet you all, and and come and hopefully come when it's a time of conference. So it'd be great it would be so fantastic to come along and be there in person with you one day at one of your conferences. I hope there's been some help here, or I hope I've been able to give you some new ideas. Some new ideas. Thank you so much. Now, can I just say that this image here is a very, very, very special image, because as you would have seen by looking at me, I have a marking on my chin, and this is called a moko kauai. This is our tribal markings, and Māori believe that this, before it's put onto the outside of my face, it exists already within, and all that is happening when they put it on the outside is they're bringing it forth. And so this image here is of myself with 3 of my 7 sisters. We all had them done at the same time up at our marae, it's called, at our meeting house up in the north of the North Island, which is where we're from, with all of our family with us present as it was happening. And it was a truly beautiful, empowering experience, because as you know, colonization nearly stripped us of having our tribal markings. Many people over the years didn't have them. We believed we weren't entitled to them, but there's been a real resurgence and renaissance in our cultural identity. And more, if you come to New Zealand, you'll see many more Māori women wearing their moko kauai. And I love this picture is everything. It's pride, it's love, it's connection, it's family, and it's a real celebration of us being Māori. And so I love that photo, and that's that photo. Thank you, Maren.
So, just to thank you again, muchísimas gracias. Creemos que se han tocado muchos temas importantes, ¿no? sobre desde dónde pensar el pensamiento creativo, cómo lo podemos trabajar a la hora de crear unos proyectos como los que realizas, y pasando además de un arte que siempre ha estado dentro de las casas, sacándolo fuera, generando estas instalaciones y estas aplicaciones en distintos soportes, y al final es una manera para vosotros de trasladar la cultura maorí a las calles, por un lado. Por otro lado, de trabajar este tema del crochet, que simboliza también el enlazar, pues de ahí habéis hecho visible toda esa colectividad de la cultura maorí, de vuestros ancestros, todo esto que lo trabajáis desde un simbolismo, también se traslada a través del arte en crochet, que trabajáis en gran formato, con esa trayectoria que es magnífica, no exenta también de dificultades, como estabais comentando, ¿no? Que se acababa de caer un proyecto importante que estáis buscando para hacer una casa de crochet, ¿no? Una casa pero eso no os impide también pues, seguir trabajando, seguir explorando cuáles van a ser las vías en el futuro para hacerlo, y por eso de diseñar el futuro y accionar el presente, todas esas claves que nos has dado nos sirven y nos dan fuerza. Thank you very much, kia ora, and we hope to see you in Bizkaia, of course.
Oh yes, one day.
And we hope to see you in Aotearoa too, of course.
Oh, I would welcome you all with open arms. I would love to see you all here. I hope one day that is a possibility.
Of course it will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Y después de los 3 días que hemos tenido y de la intervención de Lissy Cole, damos la bienvenida para este cierre a Itziar Ormaetxe. Ella es jefa del Servicio de Promoción Empresarial de la Diputación Foral de Bizkaia. Eguerdion.
Eguerdion, Denori. Muchas gracias, Mire, por presentarme. Bueno, pues nada, quería comentaros que pues me toca a mí cerrar esta tercera edición de las jornadas INNpower. Y la verdad es que, joder, haciendo un poco el repaso, la tercera edición ya. Y que a veces nos parece a emakume y a la Diputación que fue ayer cuando un día se acercaron a nuestra puerta para intentar trabajar en colaboración, preparando algún programa, ¿no? Pues pensando en mujeres y en empresarias y emprendedoras, pues con el tema, un poco con el objetivo de ir trabajando o motivando a las mujeres empresarias a ir innovando y también a la vez ir empoderándose, ¿no? en este tema, en este camino de la innovación. Y la verdad es que es un reto que era bastante grande, que yo creo que poco a poco pues vamos logrando, ¿no? Todas estas 3 ediciones las hemos preparado con muchísima ilusión y estoy segura que espero que os hayan sido muy útiles y habéis aprendido un montón de ellas. Nosotros la verdad estamos bastante contentas con los resultados y por supuesto estamos deseando ya empezar a preparar la 4ª edición. En concreto, esperemos que con el desarrollo de estas jornadas de diseñar el futuro, accionar el presente, hayamos podido conseguir algunos de los objetivos que nos planteamos, ¿no? Para este tipo de actuaciones. En concreto, bueno, pues nos parece muy importante al organizar las jornadas, pues eso, que vosotras podáis coger ideas y perspectivas que os hagan reflexionar un poco sobre cómo es vuestra estrategia empresarial. Pues un poco para poder fortalecer vuestras competencias de cara al presente y al futuro de vuestras organizaciones. También nos parece muy importante, que a veces las jornadas son muy teóricas, bueno, que nos llevemos a herramientas que nos permitan aplicar lo aprendido a nuestra realidad concreta de nuestros negocios, para así poder lograr luego pues, que sean sostenibles en el tiempo. Otro objetivo que es importantísimo y clave de estas jornadas es el tema del empoderamiento, ¿no? De nuestro saber hacer, nuestro trabajo, nuestras organizaciones, nuestros negocios. Y tal y como ha dicho Lissy en su última intervención, es el tema de generar redes y sinergias entre nosotras. De alguna forma, en la colaboración que tenemos en emakume con Diputación, pues estamos también todo el rato trabajando el tema de la colaboración, etcétera, porque entendemos que desde ahí salen los mejores resultados y los más beneficiosos para todos. La Diputación está comprometida con todas vosotras, mujeres emprendedoras y empresarias, porque para la Diputación somos una pieza clave para conseguir que a través de vuestras empresas, de vuestros negocios, Bizkaia tenga más desarrollo económico y un bienestar social. Y eso es el objeto último de Diputación. Quería dar las gracias a emakume por el esfuerzo y la dedicación que tiene siempre a organizar estas jornadas, estas jornadas. Y luego quiero dar las gracias a las ponentes, a Vanessa Jane Smith, a Robbie Francis Guadani y a Lissy Cole, pues por haber compartido todas sus experiencias, todos sus conocimientos con vosotras. Y luego, por supuesto, lo más importante, agradeceros a todas vosotras el haber participado en estas jornadas. Pero no solamente eso, también agradeceros vuestro quehacer diario como empresarias y emprendedoras. Y quiero desearos a todas mucho ánimo y mucha fuerza pues, para cerrar este año 21, que ha sido bastante complicado pues, para todos nosotros, porque pues, están siendo un poco años difíciles. Bueno, y sin nada más que añadir, pues ya damos por concluida la tercera edición de las jornadas INNpower y esperemos vernos pronto en la 4ª edición. Es que ricas podemos ir.